What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what is happening today, buddy?
Oh, excited to get into another jam-packed episode. There's a lot of news as usual.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment around the gaming space. If you can't join us live, though, over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, you can find us later at insidethegame.ca, YouTube, TV streaming services around the world, or if you don't want to watch our pretty faces, you can always listen to us over on podcast services around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, Xbox is bringing 4 exclusives to E3. PS5 is outselling the PS4, and there's talks of The Last of Us Part 3. Dude, where do we even begin? You ready to go or what?
I am excited about that.
Oh, man, I'm pumped. So let's get into it with Xbox. That's right. Xbox Series X tipped to reveal 4 huge exclusives at E3 2021. E3 2021 is back. Dude, E3 is back. I think that's the biggest highlight right there, is it's actually back, which is nice to see. But it comes in a digital format. With Microsoft yet to roll out any major next-gen exclusives, the showcase is set to be the perfect platform to announce upcoming heavy-hitting Xbox Series X titles, as an industry insider may have just revealed what to expect. Dude, the rumors are flying. Well-known leaker Chloe Bryle took to a Reset Era and dropped a few tidbits, claiming we should expect to see Halo Infinite. No surprise, really. We all know that one's coming, right? So I kind of expected that one.
Hopefully.
Whoa, man, come on. I get the delay, right? Delays are a good thing, I think, at this point. If we've seen the kind of the repercussions of what happens when you don't delay a game. But hey, Halo Infinite should be there. Starfield will be there. Forza Horizon 5. I'm hooked on Horizon Zero Dawn right now, dude. I gotta be honest.
It's hard to get that out of your head. That's true.
Yeah. Forza Horizon 5 and Age of Empires 4 revealed at the Microsoft show this summer. They also add a caveat that the 4 games will be revealed at E3 2021. They may not all launch this year. Scott, what are your thoughts here? Are these the 4 that we expect to see? Or is there anything else you want to see?
Well, there's a few things that would have been a nice addition to this, but I think this kind of covers the mainstays. Halo Infinite, of course, is the big one that everybody wants to know more about. So even if they show off another trailer or just a little bit of concept art, that's going to be a very successful show, I believe. Not too surprised at the others, but Age of Empires 4, I believe, had its own announcement very recently. So I'm curious to see what they're going to actually show off, if it's going to be in the form of gameplay or...
Sure.
I'm not quite certain, but in any case, I'm excited to see what they do in E3, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on that show.
Oh, this year I think is a very important year for not only E3, but Xbox as well, because like they said, dude, we have yet to see an actual Xbox title make its way to the Series X. I'm still playing like old gen stuff, dude. Like there's nothing new. I'm recently playing on the PS5. I'm playing Returnal right now for review. So that is like the newest title when it comes to next gen consoles that I've actually had hands on with. So it's nice to see that finally come over. But when it comes to the world of Xbox, dude, there's just nothing there right now.
Yeah, it is quite an empty field of imagination at the moment, but I'm still confident they're going to come out with something. And in response to Sony's been doing a lot of making their name known and putting it out there. There's a lot of news articles about their potential exclusives coming down the line. So Xbox has to respond somehow.
No, they do, absolutely. So I think we will see Halo Infinite this year. That's without a surprise to me. I expected to see that at E3. Starfield, I wasn't too sure. That one, I think, will be a nice surprise if it actually makes it there. And do you think you'll see Starfield this year, or are we going to be waiting for that one still for a couple years down the road, Scott?
Well, we haven't seen enough, really, that I would expect it to be this year. That would certainly be nice. I would prefer that.
Sure.
But I think it's kind of an early next year at the very soonest.
So we're gonna see a bit of like a gameplay trailer, I would hope, at this point, right? You can't just see the title screen again, right? Like, we don't want to see the name splash across the screen. We want to see, what is Starfield? What does it mean now that Xbox bought Bethesda and ZeniMax to bring them over? What are we going to get out of this game? And we touched last week the fact that it should be coming as an exclusive to the platform as well. PlayStation ain't going to be able to touch this one.
Yeah, that stings, I'm sure. That's a big acquisition right there.
No, for sure. And of course, Forza Horizon 5. Dude, I love the Horizon series. They are my preferred when it comes to the race car series. It's more that arcade feel, right? So it's definitely something I would much rather play than that whole sim, because I just hit the corners every time.
I'm personally waiting for a new Project Gotham Racing, but I think I'm going to be waiting for a while.
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't expect that one anytime soon. I think what we'll see as well when it comes to the world of E3 and Microsoft is a little snippet of Perfect Dark, what they're working on over there, and, dude, Fable. We got teased Fable. Where's that at right now?
Yes, that's a good catch. Fable is something that I had just kind of let pass. I let myself forget about it. Just knowing that it's coming down the line is kind of good enough for me to keep me excited, but I would like to see some sort of development. And Perfect Dark, that's what really is going to make it feel like Christmas to me.
Nice, dude. It's been in the works for a while. Fable has been in the works for a while now as well. I would say somewhere in around probably 3-4 years. So I'm hoping to see some kind of gameplay. I don't want to see a little, cinematic trailer. I want to see gameplay. What does Fable look like? What does the future of Fable hold? Because it was such a Xbox staple. Dude, I got my 360 because, well, let's touch on it. Because Splinter Cell Conviction could only be played on the Xbox 360. It was an exclusive. I bought that and instantly bought Fable because everybody talked about it. And then since we just haven't seen Fable hit last gen or this gen, we've been remastered over and over, and they've been ported. But dude, it's never been a full fleshed out Fable game.
Yes, and the Fable remake or remaster of the first was very well done, very successful. So I'm excited to see what comes down the line in the Fable series. It's no doubt going to be quality.
Anything else you want to see come from Xbox for this year's E3, Scott?
Well, it's nothing that I can really put my finger on quite yet.
Sure.
We followed such the large series that kind of has my mind occupied already.
Yeah, absolutely. Another huge series right now is The Last of Us. The Last of Us Part 3 has a plot, but it's not being made yet. Speaking on an episode of The Script Apart podcast about writing of The Last of Us Part 2, Druckmann touched briefly on the possibility of a sequel. He quotes, "I don't know how much I want to reveal. Co-writer Haley Gross and I did a write of an outline of the story that we're not making." He pointed that out. They're not making. They have an outline of what the sequel could be, right? But I hope to one day see the light of that day. That explores a little bit of what happens after the game is over. So, Scott, dude, there's a couple things here, right? Obviously, right now, what happened with Sony, Ben, and the fact that we heard they got transitioned over to work on Uncharted, right? Whether that's the remaster or Uncharted 5, whatever that could entail that way. Druckmann said that it's actually taken them 7 years to produce Last of Us Part 2. That's a long process, right? 7
That's almost
years.
An entire console generation.
Exactly. So if we do see The Last of Us Part 3, I wouldn't expect that till the end of the PS5 life cycle, if not the beginning of the PS6.
Oh, just on that topic, do you think they're going to go with the name PS6, or do you think they'll remix it in the way like a la 360?
No, I think they stick with the numbers. I think they like that they got the numbers, and it means something to PlayStation. You know the difference when it comes to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, right? You see the rise, so you know where you are. But dude, it's a confusing mess when you get over the world of Xbox. You got the Xbox, You got Xbox One, you got the Xbox 360, you got the Xbox Series X, you got the Xbox One X, you got the, like, dude, no one knows what's going on over there in the world of Xbox if you're on the outside. When you get into Xbox, you're like, which one do I go for? Which one's the newest one? Because it's always confusing. PlayStation's simple. Yeah, you want a PlayStation? PlayStation 5, that's the latest one. Simple, easy, taken care of, right? Next one, PlayStation 6. Done.
Even in the days of 360, it was confusing as an owner. Do I have the 360, the 360S? And
right?
There's all kinds of models.
So, yeah, no, definitely a bit of confusion over there. But when it comes to Naughty Dog and what Neil Druckmann's up to, dude, he's talking about how the story ended with The Last of Us Part 2 and what the future looks like after that, right? What could they create? Are we going to be in with Abby? Is that a thing? Or are we going to go back now and see how Ellie plays out now that her story is more or less wrapped up at the end of The Last of Us Part 2, and where that kind of future holds and where we're going to see that one kind of take over? And oh man, there's so many options here, I think. So they have a rough outline. What the future holds for that is yet to be determined because they haven't really fleshed out the story whatsoever. But yeah, when it comes to it, dude, they're going to be another 7 years easy before we see anything from The Last of Us again.
Well, there's such a large kind of universe and set pieces for them to work with that I'm glad to see that will be used in something in the future.
Well, we can also expect, though, The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer. The Last of Us 1, don't forget, had multiplayer as well. Very unique multiplayer. Actually, really enjoyed the multiplayer. Curious to see what the future holds for that when it comes over to The Last of Us Part 2, because that is a thing. They are working on it. They had a job post for someone to help them with, I can't remember the actual description, but it happened to do with, like, you know, battle passes and microtransactions and cosmetics and things along that line, right? So they can revamp and how to work that system. It kind of puts me a question as to where does that project lie right now? What's the future of the multiplayer side of The Last of Us, and when can we see that? Are we in for another year without it? Because it's been a while since we've had The Last of Us Part 2, Scott.
Or does it come up in the form of mobile, as they seemingly are?
No,
we're in the season of mobile now. But...
No, that is not a thing. Not a thing when it comes to The Last of Us. I can't see it. I hope not, anyways. But we'll see what happens there. I'm more curious to see what happens with the future of the multiplayer. It should be around the corner. I'm hoping they have something to show when it comes to E3 timeframe, because PlayStation's not going to be a part of E3. We already know that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to be a thing at all. PlayStation goes off and does their own thing, right? They want to control the message and have the mind share of the entire day, the week, whatever it could be, the month, who knows. But they won't want to be a part of E3. I think Xbox has a real chance and opportunity here to kind of shine through E3 with these exclusives. The problem is, yeah, it's been leaked, so maybe we can, it dumbs down the hype a little bit, right, Scott? When you get these leaks of, oh man, because you had no idea when they announced Fable, how pumped were we when we saw that title screen come up, right? Like, we were stoked to see that. So that was pretty good hype. But now we get a little bit of a, oh man, not so much now. But what happens with PlayStation? And are we going to get another Uncharted? What's that look like? They're working on the multiplayer. There's so many things going on right now at PlayStation. I just want to be a little fly on the wall to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's going to benefit them very soon to let out some information, because there's a lot of questions now. And I'm not sure if Tokyo Game Show is a thing that is continuing in some form this year. I'm not actually aware, but that may be their venue.
Yeah, they've always done pretty well over the Tokyo Game Show. That's their bread and butter, I think, now at this point. Besides going with E3, I think they're really kind of changed and gone in that direction as well. Besides the whole State of Play, which we touched on yesterday. State of Play is coming Thursday. So, dude, I'm pretty excited to see what they have to show off there. Remember those 2 indie titles? I want to know more. But let's keep going with more PlayStation, because the PS5 is outselling the PS4. Sony's PlayStation 5 console has now sold 7.8 million units as of March 31st, 2021. Meaning it has beaten the PS4 previous record for hardware sales during a console's first fiscal year on the market. It managed to sell 7.6 million systems to consumers during the same time frame. Demand for the console has been at an all-time high for a number of months now, translating into 3.3 million units shipped in the previous quarter alone. And that's during a global pandemic. Let's not forget that as well, right? Components are short shipped right now. They're missing parts. They're not able to produce enough units at all. For the hardware manufacturer, this translates into a new industry record for revenue. Sony has announced again, beat the record it set with the $25.04 billion in revenue across the fiscal year in 2020, which is only the second time it has managed to break the 20 billion barrier. PlayStation itself then recorded profits of 3.23 billion across the fiscal year, making the company's most profitable stretch since fiscal year 2018. For the PlayStation 4, it sold 5.8 million units, taking its total sales to an impressive 115.9 million units as of March 31st, 2021. This translates into 338.9 million PS5 and PS4 games sold within the 2020 fiscal year, with 58.4 million of them published by Sony for the fourth quarter. 79% of the sales were digital. There's a highlight too, Scott. Almost 80% of sales came digitally, right? The PlayStation Store's biggest revenue result ever. It generated more than $13.71 billion. Dude, clear to see the numbers are racking in high for PlayStation.
Just in case anybody was worried.
Exactly. Right? So they've sold right now 7.8 million units. And that's because they're short. Dude, if they were short on parts and had supply in stores, online, places to order the system, I guarantee they would have broke the 10 million.
Oh, it certainly seems that way. And these are just flying off the shelf, if they even make it to the shelf at all. In most cases, we know of scalpers grabbing large amounts of them as well. And either way, I suppose that adds to their sales units.
It helps regardless, right? The thing is, the scalpers come in, they get the units, that's sold, regardless whether you don't like the scalper or not, right? You're able to at least somehow find a system. Right now, the problem is you can't even find a system anywhere. Nowhere to be found. Whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, you just can't find one, man.
Yeah, it's brutal. I had to be on a wait list for my Series X, and I didn't even attempt the PlayStation. It was just absolutely not in the area.
Yeah, no, for sure. They're just scarce everywhere. So the minute they can start producing more systems, more consoles, it's just going to drive those numbers up. And the PlayStation 5 dude is off to a good start. But again, right now, I look at my PlayStation 5 and I look at what I'm playing on it. And when it comes to new games, that's what I'm really looking forward to in the future. Right now, I got Returnal. We touched on that. But after that, we're kind of waiting, right? We've got Ratchet & Clank coming up in June. So I'm going to have a bit of a lull in between then, but I'm still going to be able to stick around and try to do more with Returnal because there's a lot to go on. We'll touch about that later. Review coming up this week, so keep an eye on that. But let's move on to Stadia Pro gets 3 titles for May so far. Saturday, May 1st, we'll see that all titles come to the $9.99 per month membership, starting with puzzle platformer Trine 4. Dude, I love the Trine series. That is a fantastic series. I platinumed Trine 3 with my son. It was awesome.
Yeah, you've mentioned Trine enough times that I'm curious to look at this one and see what this game is all about.
It's cool. Trine series returns to the magic of 2.5D with Trine 4, the Nightmare Prince. The 3 heroes of the best-selling adventure series is back, sent on a quest to retrieve the troubled young prince Zelios. Amadeus the wizard, Pontius the knight, and Zoya the thief are joined together once again. Dude, do not miss out on this. If you have Pro for Stadia, definitely grab this. They're also coming with Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Numbers, and Floor Kids, which is some dance game from what I understand. I don't know about that one. So that was not for me, but definitely Trine 4. Scott, let's get something in that you played. Nararaka Bladepoint is a unique battle royale. The battle royale genre has reached a point of maturity now where meaningful new takes on it can emerge. Nararaka Bladepoint. Scott, am I saying that right?
Yeah, I believe you're right on that one.
We'll go with it anyways. Is one such game a pleasant surprise that brings melee action combat to the genre. Bladepoint's movement and traversal mechanics are also new for Battle Royale. A solid mix of grapple hook shots, running up walls, double jumps, and dashes. Scott, break it down. Dude, what is this game? You jumped in, right?
I unfortunately I didn't make the actual alpha test. I actually had missed it
Oh,
at the
man.
time. I got to see a little bit of the gameplay worked out, but I didn't get to play myself, and I have big regrets about that because I am very curious on how this one is going to work out and how the general reception will be
Sure.
for a new battle royale like this. Because it's, if I had to explain it hastily, I would say, imagine a battle royale, but there's movement like Sekiro.
Oh, nice.
And when you get into a sword conflict, at least a 1v1, it could be similar to For Honor in how there's,
Oh, yeah.
you can riposte, you can block, you can parry. There's all sorts of different actions and different combat styles kind of coming together. It's aesthetically a very interesting thing as well for me, being that this very Japanese inspired samurai kind of showdown.
Yep.
I'm very excited to see this full release.
No, absolutely. It's coming out sooner than I think. We'll be jumping on that one and checking it out, Scott. But you can also check out Scavengers right now. It's wholly unique compared to other multiplayer survival games, thanks to the hostile and dangerous environment. As your 3-person squad travels the map looking for loot and resources, you'll come across organized groups of hostile scavengers, hordes of zombie-like scourge creatures, and various forms of wildlife like deer, wolves, and bears. Dude, I actually jumped into this one. This is coming out April 28th. This is coming out to early access, and will eventually make its way to Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One. Remember that whole family of consoles? Man, oh man. PS4 and PS5. But yeah, you can check it out right now on Steam, early access. I jumped into it. I played it a little bit. I think our guy Steve as well checked it out and had a good time with it. It's definitely a cool twist on the survival battle royale genre, and one that's worth taking a look at if you're looking for something new and unique. I had a good time. Definitely a lot of fun. Let's get into this one. Scott, you put this one on the dock. Why don't you take it?
The Lost Souls Aside. Yes, this is a game that is kind of shrouded in some mystery. It hadn't been really talked about lately. And they have just as of now dropped an 18-minute gameplay video, just showing off what this game is going to entail. And this is a game that's in development by Utila Zero Games. It started off as a one-man project from Yangbing. And this had an announcement trailer, as I said, many years ago. This was back in 2016.
Yeah.
And there is no decided release date at the moment. But at time in 2016, it was stated that it was a couple years away. So we could be seeing this possibly in the near future. And a gameplay trailer is quite telling that they must be pretty far along the line of development now. But Lost Souls aside, this is a game featuring a war that ended 10 years ago that saw unknown monsters appear in the world. The main character, Kazur, at some point after the war, accidentally became combined with an ancient race in the form of a crystal dragon, which in the trailer you will see that it also turns into his weapon, his sword.
It looks cool.
The two are now on a journey to seek mysterious crystals, each with their own purposes. So this is quite sort of an out there storyline, but it seems to be something that's quite imaginative. And this is supposed to release eventually, when it does, for the PC, the PS4, and the PS5.
I was going to say, that's got to come to next gen, I think, at this point, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially after so long in development, you would want to put it future-proof your own release there.
Yeah, I think so as well. Let's move on to Resident Evil 4 VR port has dual wielding and will release this year. Following last week's brief reveal, Capcom has shed some new light on the forthcoming Resident Evil 4 VR port, which as we all suspected, is an Oculus Quest 2 exclusive. Dude, you're not going to get this anywhere else. No Vive, no PlayStation 4, or VR 2, which is a little disappointing, but I guess if you have an Oculus Quest like I do, Scott, maybe you can play it, because I'm not going to play this at all, dude.
I may have to borrow that one on you.
We touched on this. I don't do the spookies. That ain't happening.
I'm actually very excited for this VR version. I very recently played Resident Evil 4, just maybe about a year or two ago. So it's fresh in my mind still. And to think of that as VR and just being very fluid and all of your weapons fitting on holsters and such on your back. And I'm very, very into that.
Yeah, no, I will pass. I'm also going to pass on Resident Evil Reverse, which is not releasing with Resident Evil Village, but will debut this summer. Well, Village looks set to terrify gamers everywhere and set the bar for the horror genre. Capcom once again looking to bring multiplayer gameplay to Resident Evil with Resident Evil Reverse. This standalone multiplayer title will supposedly set to launch in tangent with Resident Evil Village and is even included for free to anyone who purchased Village, but now confirmed it'll be releasing later this summer. Scott, does that matter to you? Are you disappointed, or are you okay with the wait?
It fits into those cases where if they need to wait, if they need to delay and give more time to the game, I would rather see that. But I was very curious to jump into this and see how the gameplay works out. So I am sort of disappointed in that way. But
for sure,
it is important to notice that I have seen posts from Capcom and from development that states that the release date was implied to be alongside Village, but it never actually was stated explicitly. So this is kind of their first mention of release date, and is causing a negative reaction.
Nice. Well, Scott, I think we're getting close to the end of the show, buddy. Why don't you wrap it up with what games are coming out today?
All right, we have a short list, but some interesting titles here. We have A Token War coming to PC, Alpha Particle also coming to the PC. Genshin Impact makes its way to PS5.
Nice.
That is, of course, already released on PC, but this is a brand new edition of it. There is Second Extinction coming to the Xbox Series X and S.
GameSub in chat mentioned that he was actually playing that and getting his butt handed to him. So good luck with that one.
I believe Second Extinction is also on Game Pass now.
Yes, it is.
There's also Crime Opera, The Butterfly Effect, coming to the Switch and the Xbox Series X. And Cymatically Muffed, coming to the Xbox One. I'm not quite certain what that means.
I'm looking up right now.
And Scavengers, as we mentioned, coming to the PC.
Nice. Explore on your own or team up with friends in this exciting adventure campaign. Make your way through a wide variety of handcrafted levels as you discover the secrets Cymatic Muffed has to offer. Have your friends that are late to the party. There is no need to restart. You can join in-game process. So it doesn't really tell you what it is, dude, but it looks weird. I'm going to go with that. Yeah, I think I'll be passing. But that's it. Scott, anything there catch your fancy?
Second Extinction. I believe we have a review of that on the main channel, and I'm going to brush up on that before diving in. Being on Game Pass, I'm excited to check that one out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, everybody, that'll wrap up today's show. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. Join us live every day, Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. Or we changed the time, 11 a.m. Eastern, over at twitch.tv/the ITG. And of course, you can follow us later over on YouTube, InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the world. Until tomorrow, we'll be back once again, wrapping up. Dude, it feels like tomorrow should be Friday. Am I a little late? I'm a little early, dude. It's only Wednesday. Wow. Feels like Friday already, man. It's been a long week already, but we can't be back. We will be back tomorrow. Until then, see y'all later. See you inside the game.